Hello my friends and welcome to our Let's Rank the Walking Dead Characters Season 2 from Telltale Games. My name is FlightlessBird, this is your story-based gaming channel, and after playing through Season 1, we did a Let's Rank video of all the characters, and now after playing through Season 2, we're going to do the same, although a little bit different this time. This time, I decided to change up the categories to love, like, neutral, dislike, and loathe. I think it's a better way of maybe doing the list and giving you my thoughts rather than trying to talk about what I thought of the character as far as in terms of perfect writing or choices they made. Because let's be honest, all these characters are severely flawed. I mean, I don't think there's a perfect character because they all screw up. So yeah, let's take a look at this list, but before we start, obviously spoilers abound. And in addition to that, this is purely my opinion. If you like my list, cool. If you don't like my list, that's cool too. A minor fact, let me know what you didn't like about my list in the comment section below. I would love to discuss, you know, what you saw versus what I saw. More importantly, you may have seen something that I didn't notice before, or maybe there's another path for a character that I didn't play because I only did a one single playthrough. And because of that, there's possibility that there's someone who I misjudged just because I didn't know it. But with that said, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? I hope you all having a wonderful, fantastic, amazing, awesome day. The list is done alphabetically this time as well. And we're going to start with Alvin. Now, Alvin is a character that I didn't trust, and because of that, I don't know I can say I like the guy, but even though I always thought that maybe he was trying to use me to save him and his wife and in their future child, I don't think that ever actually happened, and I believe I totally misjudged this dude. And because of that, I'm going to put him into the light category. I'm not going to say I love the guy, but I definitely had more feelings than not. Now, the neutral category, as you guys can see, this category is for characters that I felt I didn't really have a positive or negative reaction to me because they went on long enough. But when it comes to the baby, Alvin Jr., Mr. AJ, how can you not love the baby? I mean, seriously, AJ's a baby. He's, in many ways, I guess I could see you putting him in neutral because, frankly, he doesn't actually do anything except, you know, exist. But the fact that this wonderful creation of life exists made the whole world feel a little bit better. Transitioning from someone who made the world better to someone who made the world worse, we have Arvo. Arvo is the guy that we stole from, and then I felt bad, so I tried to make things right with him. Then everything went south. Yeah, the fact that this piece of garbage shot Clementine, there's no redemption from that. You are going straight. In my fact, if I had a category below loathe, you would be below loathe for what you did. I just can't. I can't forgive you for the choice that you made there. It's nope. Another character that I don't really like very much is Bonnie. Bonnie. I don't know what to do with Bonnie because at first I disliked her. Then I really loathed her. Well, actually, I should say, first I disliked her. Then I started to like her. Then I loathed her. So in the end, where should she be? Do I dislike her equally to Arvo? Yeah, I mean, yeah. The fact that she betrays me at the end. I mean, first off, she got off on a negative foot with me because she lied to me and she had everyone captured. And then she tried to be nice to me and I just gave her the cold shoulder. I'm like, I don't want any part of you. But she kind of was winning me over, and then she did this. Yeah, the more I talk about it, the more I think she's in the loathe category more than Arvo. Do I dislike her more than Arvo? Yeah. I think I do. I really think I dislike her more than Arvo. So I'm gonna put her at the end of the list. Yeah, the characters who are at the front are the ones closer to dislike. So yes, you should be like back here somewhere. Next up, we have our first neutral character. And like I said, neutral is for characters who I really didn't get a chance to get to know very well. And because of that, I can't really judge them. And that is Buricko. Buricko is one of the Russians who shot at us. I don't speak Russian, so I don't know what the guy was saying. I can't use that against him or for him. I just don't know enough about this guy to really understand where he should fit on this list. Carlos. What do I do with Carlos? On one hand, he's super overprotective of his daughter, and I can't fault him for that. His reaction towards me, or I should say Clementine by extension, I can see they're understandable. But he never, when he contrasts him with Lee, and how Lee was like, I gotta make sure this little girl can protect herself, versus I gotta shelter my little girl, who's not so little anymore, so that she will die in this post-apocalyptic world. I gotta say that as nice of a character as I think he is, I'm not a fan of Carlos. Because in the world that we live in, if you truly cared for your daughter, I think you should have done more to try to protect her. And this is a tough one for me. Because I could see myself putting him in neutral. Because I like him and dislike him at the same time, and they kind of cancel out. But I'm going to put him down here just because if I compare him to Lee, I think Lee is by far doing the things that he should have done. And now we have Carver. Carver. From a Clementine perspective, Carver would easily be at the bottom of this list. Easily at the bottom. I mean, this guy is a dirtbag. He's manipulative. He's cold. He's cunning. He's ruthless. He's just a wonderful villain that makes you want to hate him. And because of that, I understand putting him here. But I'm actually going to put him here. And the reason I'm going to put him here is because I truly feel that episode 2 kind of jumped the shark once Carver died. Because Carver was just holding that season together via his sheer personality and his drive and his ruthlessness and his guile and his cunning. I mean, this guy is just such a great villain. He's a really good villain. And I like really good villains. I've ranked really good villains high up in my previous ranking list because for me, you need a good villain to really help push a story. And it can't just be all about the walkers and the people fighting amongst themselves. The force of his leadership is so beyond anything that we've seen. It really made me love to hate this guy. So if you want to say Flightless, he should be here because he's the most despicable person in the game, I agree with you. But because he played his role so well, I really loved Carver. And I think Carver is I don't know if you can make a better villain than Carver. And if I have one negative thing to say about putting him this high, it's he died too soon. Episode 4 and 5 were not the same after Carver's. Carver is just, he was amazing. The way they built him up, the way he came out, the way you didn't know what type of person he was, the fact that you didn't know if the others were lying about him or telling the truth about him. I mean, this guy was just incredible. And as a villain, I loved him. As a person, he's down here. As a villain, I loved him. So I'm going to put him up here because I don't think season 2 would have been as good as it was without Carver. There was speculation that Kenny was supposed to be Carver originally. I found this out by talking to the wonderful people in my Discord community. Come join our Discord if you'd like. Links are in the description below. But I'm glad Kenny wasn't Carver. I think that would have been a little bit too extreme of a persona shift. I'm glad they were able to make a character like him. And he was amazing. He was. He was a character I loved to hate. Christa. Now, if I'm evaluating these characters based on season 2, Christa is not here. Like, maybe I had her in season 1. I think I had her in season 1 here in Omid and Like. I'm going to move her to Like, and I'm going to put her behind Alvin. And the reason I want to put her behind Alvin is because I like Christa, but when Omid died, I really feel like she blamed Clem for it, and that wasn't fair. But at the same time, she stuck with Clem for way beyond Omid's death, so I gotta give her that. I don't think I love Christa like I did in season 1, but I definitely like her more than otherwise. Clem is, of course, going to instantly catapult to the top. I mean, how could she not? If you didn't like Clementine, it's kind of your own fault. But at the same time, I really like how Clementine's story came about in this season. The fact that she's the one that took out Carver. You had the choice to watch what happened. The decisions that the game gave you with her. I mean, I don't need to talk about Clementine. She's just awesome. She's always been awesome. This is 2 seasons in a row that she's been top of my list, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Or at least I hope it doesn't change anytime soon. I have no idea what season 3 is going to bring, so we'll have to wait and see. The family. I got the family grouped up together because I really don't know who they are. I just know that they seem like nice people. I liked them. I liked the kid. The dad who had a gun never came at us in a threatening way, and he could have. The wife seems to be really, really nice. I mean, I don't know really anything about the family, but in this short time I've known them, I like them more than not. Yeah. I like the family. Who do we have next? Hank. Who is Hank? He's just a guy in Carver's area. He was one of the guards, I believe. Don't really remember him having any type of real role in the story. So Hank is just a guard, much like the Russian shooter. He was there, but you know, I really don't. I'm really not feeling any way for him. Matter of fact, I didn't even know who this guy was till someone looked at my list and said, "Hey, where's Hank?" I'm like, I don't know who Hank is. By the way, thank you Techno Trouble and Arthas and Jonathan for helping me out with this list, because I forgot a couple names originally and I don't want to forget anyone if I can. If I did forget someone, I'm sorry. There's 31 people on this list. I try to do my best. Jane. I love Jane. Jane was great. I know some people probably loathe Jane. And the reason you probably loathe Jane is because of what happened with Penny. I understand. I understand 100%. I could not disagree with you here because I get that logic. But I love Jane. Jane was great. I thought Jane was amazing. I'm gonna put her below the baby and below Carver, because she is. I said multiple times throughout the season, if Clem could just run away with Jane, I would be happy with that. And yeah, I mean, I still feel that way, despite what happened with Kenny. I still absolutely love Jane. The fact that she's like the most real character in this season, I think. Well, maybe could say Carver is also very real in a gritty way. But Jane was one of the people who were thinking, okay, we need the meds, but then she gets mad when we do something that we shouldn't do. She's got a good heart. She's also seen a lot of trauma. And the fact that she lost her sister and she sees Clem as like a sister, but yet she doesn't want to see her as a sister because she doesn't want her to die. I mean, Jane is a really, really complicated individual who at the end of the day, I think had a heart of gold. I don't think she wanted Kenny to die. I really don't. I think that one went completely spiraled out of control. And I don't blame Jane for Kenny's death. I blame Kenny for Kenny's death. Because Kenny tried to kill her because Kenny thought she was the reason the baby died. It's not your baby, Kenny. Kenny was obsessed over AJ. Kenny wanted AJ to be his son as a replacement for Duck. And I said this in the season that I really feel Kenny, the guy we knew, died a long time ago. The Kenny we knew is not the Kenny we saw in season 2. The Kenny we saw in season 2 was a tragically flawed individual who, when I saw Kenny, I loved Kenny. I was like, heck yeah, Kenny's here. And then after really, really loving Kenny and being excited for him, I began to see his obsessive side. And I was like, well, you know, I love Kenny, but he's not the guy I thought he was. And then I started to dislike Kenny. Kenny started to make me afraid and scared, and I worried that Kenny was going to get us killed. I don't think I ever got to the loathe category with Kenny. But much like Carver, who I feel is sort of like the heart of season 2. Without Carver, you just don't have a good story being told. I feel the same way about Kenny. However, I don't think I like Kenny as much as I like Carver. So I'm probably going to put Kenny at the front of my like list. I'm not going to say I love Kenny, but just like Carver, without Kenny in this story would have been far less than what it was, to the point that the story would have been bland. If Carver was the motivating force behind episodes 1 and 2, Kenny was the motivating force from, you know, there on out. Carver 1, 2? No. 1, 2, and 3? Yeah, 1, 2, and 3. And Kenny was the heart of 4 and 5. I would also say Jane had a huge part of that, but I really feel like these 3 characters are the central focus of our story, and without them, the story wouldn't have been the same. That's not to discount Luke. Luke is awesome. I like Luke. Luke was a good guy. And I don't know if I have anything bad to say about Luke. I mean, it's weird because he had that moment with Jane, and people are thinking, oh, how can you do that? I don't blame him for that. I don't harbor any ill feelings about that. I mean, he came back for us in the, you know, to try to free us from Carver. It sucks that he died the way he did. I tried to save the guy. I really, really liked Luke. In my brain, I kind of had this weird image for a bit where it could be Jane, Luke, and Clem, like a new family, that really cared for each other, that looked out for each other, that had good hearts. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. But I am gonna put Luke next to Jane. I like Jane more than Luke, but I like both these characters, and I like both of them a lot, so much so that we'll put them in the love category. Next up, we have Matthew. Matthew is such a good dude. I'm gonna put him above Alvin. Problem is, he died too soon. But I really like Matthew. Matthew just seemed like a really, really nice guy. And based on what we know about Matthew from the others that were with him, he just seems like a really cool guy, and I really wish we could have gotten to know Matthew more, because I think Matthew would have been a really good standout character. Oh boy. Michelle. Michelle can go burn in a fire. I don't like Michelle. Michelle is the reason that Omid died. And for that reason, I mean, I know I have Carver up here because he's a villain, and I liked him as a villain. Michelle, she was just someone who robbed us, and then ended up shooting someone. And then after she shot him, she was like, "Oh, I just shot someone. I can't believe I did that." I mean, if you're gonna write her like that, game, at least write her to be like this heartless criminal. Hey, yeah, I'm stealing from a kid. Someone barged in, boom. You know, that's what you get for sneaking up on me, you stupid mother. And then, bam, you know, she dies because Christa sees what she did. I would have rather there was no sympathy at all shown in the game by Rebecca. It would have been so much better, and I would have liked her a lot better if she was just this heartless bastard. But because she wasn't, I'm gonna put her here, because you killed Omid, and then you didn't really have a moment with it. It was just, oh my god, I can't believe I did that. Yeah, you did do that. I mean, you shot him. How dare you? You suck. I really, really, really dislike Michelle. Go away. Mike. I'm gonna dislike Mike. I don't hate Mike. I think in the end he has a pretty solid heart. Even when he robbed from us, he was trying to explain to Clem, you know, why he was robbing from us. And I can understand that because Kenny was pretty unhinged at this point. But even though Kenny was unhinged, you still try to rob from him. And you were still a part of the group that shot Clem. So I don't think I loathe you as much as Bonnie and Arvo. But I definitely don't like you. Yeah, I definitely don't like you. You're down here. Absolutely. Nick. I don't know what to do with Nick. Nick was the guy who I was just thinking, I'm done with you, dude. I have no pity for you. If you get yourself killed, I don't think I would mind. And when he got shot, or actually didn't get shot, sorry. When he got eaten by walkers because the walkers didn't get shot. I mean, yeah, I didn't care at all. And loathe me someone I really dislike. Nick, I almost had apathy towards him. I was just thinking, I don't even want you in my story. That's how much I don't care about you. So because of that, I think I am going to put him on the loathe list. Because I really just didn't care for him at all. In any way possible. I mean, there's no good qualities that I saw from Nick. And maybe that's because of the way we played. Maybe if I was a nicer guy towards Nick, maybe if I tried to be more open towards Nick, I could have seen a better side. But no, that's just not how it worked. I think Nick may be my most least liked character. I haven't like sorted this down here. Do I like the way this is? Do I dislike Bonnie more than Arvo? Yes. I dislike Michelle the most. Do I dislike Nick more than Michelle? Yes. I like the way this is looking so far. Yeah, I agree with that. That's cool. Omid! How can you not like Omid? Omid's great, even though we only saw him for 1 second. Technically, I guess I should put him down here. Because when it comes to season 2, really didn't see him at all. But, you know, the little bit I saw him, I still like the dude. Do I like him more than family? I don't know. These two are kind of interchangeable to me. I'll put Omid here. Put him next to Christa. Do I like him more than Christa? I like him more than Christa. Yeah. Do I like him more than Alvin? I really didn't see him enough. Yeah, I didn't really see him enough. If I saw Omid more, I'd probably put him above Alvin. But I just didn't see him enough. So, Omid. What a way to begin this season, by the way. With a character you really, really like just getting killed. That sucked. That really sucked. Yeah, it is what it is, though. Alright, so after Omid, we have Pete. I love Pete. Pete was great. Pete was good people. I love Pete. I'm gonna put him up here. I like him more. I don't like him more than Jane. I mean, that's tough. That's really hard. So I have my protagonist and my antagonist as the 2 spots. I kind of like how they're here because that makes a lot of sense in my brain. But do I like Jane more than Pete? I love Jane. I think she's awesome, but Pete was just such a good dude. And whereas there are moments when Jane hurt us, Pete never did. So I'm gonna put Pete above Jane. I know it's kind of a hard one for me, but I really like the dude. I really, really liked him. He was good. He's good people. Yeah, I like Pete. Next up is Ralph. And maybe I probably should have done this with the Russians, but Ralph here and Victor here are the 2 that attacked Christa and Clem when they were at the campfire. He's the one that held Christa up at gunpoint. Victor, I believe, is the one that chased us before I believe he's the one who you could give water to ask about where Christa is. But regardless of your choice, he doesn't tell you. I'm not going to say I loathe both of them because they're only on screen for a short amount of time, but I definitely didn't like them. So I'm going to put both Ralph and Victor in the dislike category here. And I do think I dislike Victor more just because he had a chance to help us out and he wouldn't. So yeah, screw that guy. Yeah, both of these guys can be in my dislike category. I have no problem with that. Rebecca. Rebecca's a lot like Alvin. I didn't like Rebecca. As a matter of fact, we did not have a good relationship early on. We antagonized each other quite a lot. And over time, I got to know Rebecca. And despite how we started out, I think she has the highest potential of growth over a season. Because at the end of the day, she was good people. And we came in super suspicious of her. She came in super suspicious of us. But I thought she was a good person. And I'm hesitant to put her here or here. I don't know if I love Rebecca. Should I say that? Should I put her here? Yeah, let me put her here. Because I love the character arc that happened over this season. From we're enemies to we're friends. And I love to see character growth in games, especially, games like RPGs and things. I love seeing characters grow over time. And I really feel like she had the best arc out of all the characters on the list in the way that we play. Reggie. I like Reggie. How can you not like Reggie? Reggie was cool. I know that he was Carver's man. And I know that he was working for Carver to get himself back in the inside. But I still like the dude. He was nice and he was friendly. And he seemed to know how bad Carver was. And in a way, he was trying to help us not get on Carver's bad side because he knew Carver was a piece of trash. So I think despite the short time I saw him, I really liked him. I'm moving above the family. I'm going to move him above Christa. I'm moving above Omid. I'm even going to move him above Alvin. I don't think I want to move above Matthew. But yeah, I liked Reggie. Reggie was cool. Sam. Yeah, so when I went to try to find a list of the characters, I came across the fact that apparently the dog's name is Sam. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it's what I found. And Sam, Sam gave me a lot of smiles early on. And then he tried to kill me. And then he tried to kill me. He actually did. Yep, Sam ate Clem. And then unfortunately we had to put him down, and it was just this was a really amazing moment in this season because Clem was on her own. She meets a dog. You fall in love with the dog because how can you not? You play games with it, and then the dog tries to kill you. I think I can't help myself but to put Sam in the love category. I'm gonna put him on the end though because he did kill me. But the moment that we had with the dog were very emotional and very powerful. So Sam, you earned yourself at the top of the list. Good job. Sarah. Ugh. I'm not gonna get a lot of likes with my list with putting Carver so high and then putting Sarah so low. I didn't like Sarah. I'm sorry. I just didn't. If the world was different, I probably would have liked her a lot. But to me, she seemed like a handicap the entire time. And in the world that we're living, in this harsh world that we're living, she's just too good of a person to exist in this world. And I can understand that because I probably would be like Sarah. I don't think I could exist in this world. But the thing is, she does. And she never grew as a character. She never did. Despite all the stuff I tried to do to make her realize that this world is harsh, she never snapped out of that shell that her father Carlos put her in. So I don't blame her for that. So Carlos, you can be down here. But at the same time, it's hard to say that I like Sarah. I'm sorry, Sarah. In another world, another universe, we probably could have been best friends. But in this one, it just wasn't meant to be. I'm sorry, everyone. For all those who love Sarah, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. But in my playthrough, she's here. That's a tough one. Yeah. Sarita. Sarita is instantly going here. I love Sarita. Sarita's great. Sarita is amazing. Sarita was wonderful. I loved Sarita. I thought Sarita with Kenny was the best thing for Kenny. And then once Sarita died, it just all went to heck. And it sucked because she was Kenny's anchor And then Kenny tried to make AJ his anchor, which I disagreed with. But I really like Sarah, and I'm Sarita, and I'm sorry, Sarita, for what happened. There's so many tragic deaths in this season. Just along this row, Sarita, Pete, and Luke. Just, oh, and Sam as well. You could add Rebecca to that, but her death wasn't as tragic as some of the others. But man, the way Sarita died, yeah, that was hard. Tavia, I'm going to make an exception to this list. And the exception I'm going to make is there's really no 400-day reference in this list. I judge Bonnie based on what she did in the second season. Tavia was one of Carver's men, but only was she one of Carver's men. And by men I mean it in general speaking, of course. She was his recruiter. She was the one who brought people like Bonnie into his stronghold. She knows how evil of a man Carver is, and yet she presented herself to the group as this was the best opportunity you could have had. Tavia, you are not traitors, treacherous. That's one of my words. You are a treacherous snake that I absolutely cannot stand. You're at the bottom. Yes, you are at the bottom of the list. If Carver was here, Carver would be... I don't know if Carver would be next to you to the left or next to you to the right, but you, in my opinion, are just as despicable as this man is. And I have no sympathy for you whatsoever. Tavia, yeah, you can go burn in a fire. Another person who I have no sympathy for is one of her colleagues, Troy. Troy is just such a jerk and a horrible, horrible person. Some of the things he's said are just not forgivable, and I'm gonna put him above Tavia. I still think as his Carver's recruiter, you're worse, but you're kind of like Carver's right-hand man. And while Carver's held the episode together, you were just such... I'm not going to use that type of language, but you'll know what I'm thinking right now. Yeah, you can, yeah. Unlike Hank, who was kind of just there, I don't like this guy at all. I'm so tempted to put you at the end of my list, but Tavia, I mean, because of what happened in 400 days. If it was 400 days, it would probably be like this, but I'm going to put it like this. Next up, we have Vatali. Vatali was one of the Russians. We're just going to put him next to the other Russian and Hank. I mean, this is not in any particular order. You could put him anywhere here, but Vatali and Buricko, I don't really know which one was which or who did what, who said what. I just know that they were there. They were part of Arvo's crew, and I mean, I didn't really get a chance to see much of them. One of these guys got a horrible death from Jane. Not sure which one, but let me know in the comment section below if you know which one of them gets really, really destroyed by her. But either way, both are kind of equal in my mind. Walter, the teacher. I liked Walter. Walter's great. Walter's amazing. Walter kills Nick, or lets Nick die. Because that, Walter, you are going up here somewhere. Where are you going? Higher than Rebecca? Yeah. Higher than Luke? That's tough. Higher than Pete? That's really tough. I don't really know where to put Walter. Maybe I'll put him here. I think Walter was good people. I liked Walter. Walter was good. Walter was nice. I like him. But I like Pete more. I like Jane more. I like Luke. All right, yeah, okay, there. I'm okay with that. That sounds good. Last up, we have on our list, we have Winston. You know, looking back on it, I really should, next time I do a list, try to group them based on affiliations as well. Because he was also one of those who attacked Clem. I kind of forgot about him when I put these two together. But he's just as ruthless as the others. I dislike him more than Ralph, but not as much as his leader, Victor. Yeah, I'm sorry. I totally forgot about you, Winston. That's the thing about when you make a tier list. Sometimes it's the people that you rank. You kind of forget about certain minor characters until you get to them. You're like, oh yeah, I should have had this guy earlier. My bad. But yeah, Winston, I kind of forgot about you. You're ruthless. You would shoot Clem in a second. You ordered the shooting of Clem. You would shoot her in a second, and you're just a thug. So I got the thug, the murderer, and the cold-hearted leader situated kind of like this. Maybe I could kind of put him down here, but I just don't remember him well enough to loathe him. But yeah, I think that's my list. Clementine and Carver at the top. Again, if you want, you could easily put Carver down here. I totally agree with that. I'm a split mind. On one hand, as a person, he's definitely down here. As one of the driving forces to the story, he's easily up here. He's the guy I would love to hate. So if you want him down here, I understand. If you want him up here, I understand. That's kind of where I had those two. The protagonist series and the antagonist. Although you could argue that, you know, Kenny and Jane are also sort of pseudo-antagonists, but no. We got AJ, Sarita, Pete, Jane. I'm sorry, I think that Jane maybe should be down here. Just because she had a lot of flaws. Whereas Sam and Matthew were more wholesome. I mean, Matthew and Jane probably move around as well. It's not a definitive list, but you know, it's my opinion. So someone like this, I mean, you could even do something like that. Something like that. I would be okay with either one of those orders. Rebecca and Sam, yeah, that works for me. Characters I can't stand: Arvo, Bonnie, Michelle, Nate, Troy, and Tavia. Maybe I misjudged Nick. I think Nick is one of the ones I misjudged the most. I'll move Melissa down and move him up one. But for the most part, I kind of like how this list shaped out. I have a little bit more characters that I liked than disliked. That just shows quality writing. Yeah. I even though there's what, 5 more characters on this side than there are on this side, there's still some characters that I didn't like very much. And Sarah, man, that's a tough choice. These are all tough choices. They really, really are. When it comes down to deciding on who should be on a list like this, it's really, really difficult. But you know, that's my list of our Let's Rank the Walking Dead Characters Season 2. Please let me know in the comment section below where you differ from me, where you agree with me. What's the one character in your mind that I most misjudged based on their spot on this list? And again, when it comes to Carver, I could see Carver at the top or bottom. So yeah, I can see you saying that. But what about a character like Sarah or Carlos? Should they really be down there? Nick? Bonnie? How about the people on top? Rebecca? Jane? Pretty sure some people are like, Jane's too high. Yeah, maybe. But I like Jane a lot. I still like Sarita the best. out of the characters that I really, really loved. AJ, I mean, I gotta put AJ third. I mean, AJ was, I mean, how can you not love the kid? But in terms of driving the story forward, Clem is easily my number 1 and Carver's my easily number 2. But with that said, I'm looking forward to seeing The Walking Dead Season 3. As of the release of this video, we're doing a poll on our channel if we should play Michonne or Season 3 and 4 first. Go ahead to the community page to vote on that poll if the poll is still active. And I want to say a huge thank you to the wonderful supporters of our channel via Patreon and YouTube membership. If you'd like to support me in that way, you can go to the link in the description below. Also down there is a link to our Discord and a spreadsheet that has all of our playthroughs easily accessible, so you can jump directly to the playlist. So if you saw this list, you're like, well, FlightlessBird, where can I find a playthrough of Season 1 and 2? Just access that spreadsheet. Or if you're thinking, well, what about some other horror games you've done, like Supermassives, The Dark Pictures, The Quarry, Frank Stone? How about As Dusk Falls? Some more narrative-based games. Not Detroit Become Human. Heavy Rain? Yes, we played Heavy Rain as well. So there's a spreadsheet down there that has all those playlists in them. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, fantastic day. I'm really looking forward to seeing more from the Walking Dead's world, especially when it comes to either Michonne or Season 3 and 4. I really want to know if they can close this in a very satisfying way, because I mean, I just don't see this series ending in any other way except Clementine's death, and that scares me. It really, really does. And I'm only in Season 2, and it scares me, that thought. But don't spoil me. Let's find out together. Until next time, have a wonderful, fantastic, amazing, awesome day. So long, and take care. Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to comment on what you saw and what you'd like to see next. I always love to hear your thoughts. But before we go, please remember that you matter, and you are brilliant, and you are loved, and you should always be true to yourself. Never let the world tell you any different. Much love to you from your friendly, feathered, flightless bird.